Imagine waking up one morning and seeing the news that you are dead. At first, you think it must be a dream, but then your phone starts vibrating non-stop. Facebook, Twitter, messages from journalists, relatives, friends, your photo everywhere, shared again and again. Your forehead turns cold with sweat, your hands begin to shake, your breathing feels trapped in your chest, and one thought crosses your mind. Am I already in heaven? Today, I am going to tell you a true crime story filled with mystery, betrayal, and psychological terror. A story that proves that in the modern world your enemy does not stand in front of you and challenge you to fight. They walk quietly behind you, aiming for your weakest point. And most of the time they are someone you trust the most, because to kill a person while they are still alive, only one lie is enough. My name is Ravi Chetri, and this story begins in 2017 in Los Angeles, where a 17-year-old girl named Jasmine was found chained to a bed with an iron leash meant for dogs, wrapped so tightly around her wrists that blood slowly dripped onto the floor. Psychological studies show that when a human being is forced to watch the same video again and again, without rest, without escape, the mind begins to fracture, reality becomes unstable, and the person slowly turns into something empty, something hollow, a living body with a dying soul. And this was exactly what was happening to Jasmine, as the same movie played in front of her eyes 24 hours a day, day after day, while she cried, until her voice disappeared, until her tears dried, until silence became her only language. She was fed rotten food mixed with drugs that prevented sleep. Her body never allowed to rest, her mind never allowed to shut down. And every 4 to 5 hours, different men entered the room, one after another, using her, breaking her, leaving her on the bed like an object, giving her salty water instead of real water, just enough to keep her alive. One night, she could not sleep even until 3 in the morning, her heart slowing, her body weakening, until she finally lost consciousness. And when she opened her eyes again at 7 a.m., the same movie sound echoed in the room, and a young man was sitting in front of her, short hair, rough beard, barely 19 years old, staring at her with empty eyes, who calmly said, "Do you know how to kill someone while they are still alive? Tomorrow, I will show you." And then he walked away. Jasmine heard every word, but her body no longer belonged to her. It was too weak to fight, too broken to scream. Why was a teenage girl turned into a prisoner inside her own life, who decided to destroy her this way? How did jealousy grow into something so cruel? Was he a monster, or simply a human being who had crossed the final line? But one truth remains constant in every crime story. Betrayal almost never comes from strangers, it comes from those closest to you. To understand the motive, we must go back 1 year earlier to a classroom in Southwestern Academy, Los Angeles, 10th grade, 30 students, 15 boys, 15 girls, and among them a couple, Jasmine and her boyfriend William. William struggled in school, complaints followed his name every week, while Jasmine was the opposite. Top of her class, star of the school, winning in sports, exams, speeches, admired by teachers, loved by students, known by everyone. Their relationship was seen as strange, as if a bright star had chosen to stand beside a shadow. And at home, William was constantly reminded of this. Why can't you be like Jasmine? Why can't you get her grades, her discipline, her respect? And at school, his friends laughed, asking how someone like him could ever deserve someone like her. Jasmine tried to protect him, to support him, but every word of comfort cut deeper into his pride, and slowly admiration turned into comparison, comparison into jealousy, jealousy into hatred, until even hearing her name felt like poison in his ears. He wanted to feel powerful, he wanted to feel superior, but he did not want to work for it. So he chose destruction instead. Together with his friends, he kidnapped Jasmine and tortured her for 3 days. And on the final morning, he opened Facebook, uploaded her photo, and announced to the world that she was dead, even though she was still breathing. One lie was enough to erase her existence. The city panicked. Her name filled the news. And when Jasmine woke up, The movie was gone, replaced by television screens showing her own death, her parents crying, her family collapsing in front of cameras, and as she watched her loved ones break apart, tears rolled down her face, while somewhere in the same city, William watched and smiled, finally feeling important. This case leaves behind a lesson darker than the crime itself. Never build a child's life on comparison, because when you tell someone they must become another person, you quietly teach them to hate themselves, to compete instead of grow, to destroy instead of improve, to chase victory over others instead of peace within themselves. And a child raised this way may one day try to defeat the whole world, but will still lose the war inside their own mind. Your child is not a copy of anyone else. Their pace is different, their talent is different, their path is different, and forcing them to walk in someone else's shadow can turn love into envy, and envy into something far more dangerous. Thank you